Exo-Experts, the first Warbond to ever have a vehicle, let alone 2 mechs that caused quite the controversy. But don't worry, I will not be covering the drama. Instead, I'll be ranking the best and worst weapons and armor in Exo-Experts. We'll begin with the missile pistol. You fire off rockets from your pocket that go 100 meters in guided mode and 200 meters-ish in unguided mode. You get 4 total. They deal 1,000 damage directly and 300 damage on explosion. Essentially a bit less powerful than a commando on direct hit, but twice as powerful on the explosion. The main thing for these weapons is going to be the direct hit though. And that is freaking powerful. Take off a charger leg armor in a single shot, and it's exposed. You can just destroy the chicken wing any way you see fit. Hit it from the back, blow the wagon off instantaneously. And if you miss a charger on any of its important weak spots, hitting it in general will stop its charge, making it deal way less damage. Pocket Rocket is a certified homewrecker, but the only spawner you can't destroy is a Bile Titan nest. Impalers puppeteering their tentacles require 1 rocket to the smooth spot, and they're smoked. Bile Titans is going to take you 2 rockets directly to the forehead, ideally when they're spewing, but better yet, fire 1 rocket during the spew, and then use weapons that deal decent or great durable damage that have at least heavy pin, and take it out that way as a combination. Pocket Rocket will make the gunship mains uninstall. You get guided mode that targets them pretty much anytime they're targeting you within the normal range they fly at, and it just takes a single shot to take them all down. You get 4 rockets, gunships patrolling a maximum of 4. You are the anti-automaton air defense unit. It can also take out a cloaked stalker. Tank towers and most tanks, when hit from the back, is a 1 rocket to their heatsink, that whole back panel. And if you're facing barrage tanks, I believe those take 2 pocket rockets or combine different sources for a faster kill. In combination with Quasar Canyon or EAT-17, you can shoot this from a tank and take it out. It can even destroy bunker turrets from the front, which is very helpful when facing the Automaton Fortress. Vox engines had their tank turrets demoted from God status, and they now only take a bit more than a recoilless rifle shot, for instance. So in this case, you can be 1 person, use your recoilless rifle, and then pocket rocket. And you get guided mode to make it so you don't miss a shot. And when you break both turrets, it dies. 1 pocket rocket to a Hulk's heatsinker visor, and either of the Worst Rider's visors or hip joint will destroy them beyond space and time. Ideally, if they're standing still. Dragon roaches can get 2-shot if you find a way to make the auto-targeting go after the forehead. I haven't done that quite yet. Maybe a jump pack, hover backpack, warp backpack, or hitting it when it's diving in at you is the solution. I don't know, so right now it's about 4 rockets to kill it. Factory Striders will die eventually when going for their weak spots, but you're better off trying to use them to destroy their tank turrets if they're a problem. If not, just sit there welling on the eyeball of the undercarriage until it perishes. Harvesters can get 1-tap to their joint, I believe the middle section of their legs, and the bottom of their toes, essentially. Stingrays get blasted to smithereens, and you can lock onto them. Flesh mobs get weakened, and you can finish them off with other stuff. These are all the important time to kills I can think of, and this all makes the missile pistol, pocket rocket, S tier. I cannot explain just how much fun I've had. Porky picked up right now? I can't explain just how much fun I've had using it on the different factions, especially the bugs though. Charger coming after you, strip their leg, shoot at double freedom. That is such a good experience, and there's so many chargers spawning in some cases. It's just non-stop action, man. Speaking of action, this video is sponsored by Raycon. There may come a day you get caught off guard by fellas wielding golden frying pans, but not me. With my bone conduction headphones that are lightweight and comfortable, I can hear my surroundings and still listen to some sick tunes. I've been farming super credits on difficulty 1. Partake in any of the audible shenanigans that you fancy. While maintaining peace of mind, you won't be shutting out the entirety of the world around you, and instead, you can hear the things that matter, including your tunes, but also maybe a car when you're walking around. If it's EV, those things are freaking silent, so all bets are off. Premium design, but not the premium price tag. They're also IP68 waterproof and dustproof, 13-hour battery life, and they look pretty snazzy. I enjoy using them while cooking, particularly baking some potatoes. The bone conduction headphones are a great option for everyday listening, and click the link in the description box or go to buyraycon.com/ODOBC to get 20% off. Thank you Raycon again for sponsoring today's video. It's just a simple, everyday, run-of-the-mill exo-suit dealing a measly 3,600 damage if you land every pellet in your shotgun shot, which won't happen too often, but you can land a lot of them fairly consistently, because you're a close-range mech suit with a shield that can parry a charger's charge if timed correctly. And your shotgun, scattergun, can also stagger a charger's charge. You have tons of ways, 2 ways, to actually make it to where you can get them close and just mollywomp them into a different dimension. Your scattergun has 70 rounds total, and when shooting it, make sure to reload. It's a manual thing, and it's rounds reload, and you can't fire it until every shell is reloaded. When I first used it, I was like, this thing only has 6 shots? What's going on here? The spread is crazy, though, on the shotgun. It's 200 by 200. You can see all the shots going everywhere, so you do have to get close to make that make sense and work. Your shield is heavy pin, and side note, the same goes for scattergun. The shield's purpose is to bash the daylights out of enemies, and I guess to block damage, but the bashing part, you can ragdoll and send Voteless, Billy Bobs, Wilburs flying. Looks hilarious. I'm a big fan, and it's very practical because you can save tons of ammunition by using this tool to stagger enemies in your path, and they take a while to recover to the point in which you can just keep doing it, moving forward as they're chasing behind you, racking up a ton of kills. As far as I know, hunters, voteless, most troopers, and of course your Wilburs, scavengers, cannot damage the mechs whatsoever, which means you can simply walk into them and they die to your feet just moving. If they're blocking your path, shield bash because they can actually entrap you in a sense. When facing enemies that explode, this could go for rocket striders, it could go for rocket devastators. Meleeing them isn't great. There's bow spitters and bow warriors. Just killing them, they explode. That deals damage to you. So walking over a bow spitter, for instance, a small critter, that's not ideal because it's just dealing damage constantly and it adds up over time. The same warning applies to these spore bursts. I took almost no damage from their swings, but their death explosions ended up taking my mech's HP down to such a point a single swipe from a warrior killed it, which is rude. Never shield bash the intruder. It's almost a guaranteed way to one-shot your mech. Stingrays get deleted, gunships, not so much. Those fellows took me 4 rounds on average. Chargers are absurdly fun to kill. Wait for them to get close and shoot them in the leg or the face. If the leg gets stripped, one more shot for both Charger and Behemoth and they're dead. If it's a regular Charger, the head is a pretty good thing to go for because it's more of a flat surface. The shots won't ricochet, they won't bounce off. For Behemoths, the same can't be said, so you'll be looking at usually 3 shots. Harvester. Scattergun breaks your shield from across county lines. Once it's broken, you shoot their hip joint. And if you're close enough, it is a one-shot, and they tend to get sent into Narnia. You see legs going in one direction, its body another. Now, flesh mobs, I don't know if they're considered a heavy unit, but those fellows get one shot occasionally by scattergun, and 2-shot typically. Verisator, the melee Jondelier. They'll charge you, you can shield bash it, and then blow their leg off. And they die instantly. The Gatekeeper is the ranged Jondelier. They don't get close. Your best option is shooting the shield from the pilot and then killing the pilot, which takes a while because they're in Narnia. Hulk. Aim center mass, hope for the best, and if they get close, you can melee them to death, or you can simply stagger them with a melee, then go for a one-shot. War Striders. You're much better off shooting them to stagger their photon cannons from destroying you beyond space and time, getting closer and shield bashing a leg, or scattergunning the hip joint, just the lower body in general. But sometimes you get really lucky and you can one-shot them. Wait, what? Bile Titan. Strafe to the left as it spews and shoot it in the face. The first shot staggers it, so it makes your follow-ups maybe miss a little bit, so potentially wait, and it could go down to being 3 shots as opposed to the typical 4. For Spore Titans, I didn't test them because the Spore Burst faction explodes, making Breakthrough way less valuable. You can just know it takes longer to kill than a regular Titan. Factory Strider. If you break the cannon turret, the miniguns shouldn't be that big a deal, and they don't shoot you if you're facing straight at them. At least they didn't for me that often. And if you get really, really close, you can kill it to the eyeball in around 6 shots. I did it twice, but dude, automatons are sniping the mech from all these crazy angles. Tanks, by the way, can get one-tapped by your scattergun to the heatsink if you're behind them, which is super simple. Just go ahead and slowly, briskly jog to get behind them as they're tracking you the entire time, shooting you with their massive freaking cannon. If we're ranking based on fun, it's S tier. For how it does against the factions that mechs are normally good on, I'd say S tier for bugs if you're not facing spewers, and A tier for Illuminate if you're on mindless masses. Lumber Exo-Suit. You have a slightly weaker version of the anti-tank emplacement as your arm that can one-shot chargers, but it takes 2 shots on charger behemoths as a little discrepancy in breakpoints. The flamethrower is your other arm with 500 fuel. It's currently bugged, dealing way less direct damage than it should, and the ground fire is far less consistent than, let's say, a crisper. And so is the direct damage. You can test this by simply going to shoot a Battle Titan, which survives a single shot from the anti-tank arm, then use the flamethrower on the mech itself, and realize it takes forever to actually kill it. Whereas you can shoot it again with the anti-tank, hop out, bust out a crisper, torture flamethrower, it dies so much faster. This, if it worked properly, would be very fun against a fair few enemies, because then you can maybe not one-shot the enemy, but you can finish them off with the flamethrower. If the flame arm wasn't broken, it'd be S tier for bugs, and probably around B tier for all factions combined. Because on bugs, you one-shot chargers, two-shot behemoths, one anti-tank plus flamethrower should kill it quickly. Same applies to Battle Titans. Impalers, one hit at the smooth spot. And for Spore Burst, the faction that usually gives folks a hard time, fire does not trigger their explosion to crack out their homies. So it'd be pretty good on a sub-faction that typically most guns or most weapons aren't that great on. For bots, not as ideal. You one-shot Hulks, you can one-shot War Striders. For those fellers, it has to be a visor hit, which would be hard to do, or a hip joint hit. Because hitting the jondals, the waist area, the legs, those don't one-shot in Lumberer. If you're close, the flamethrower can kill them. They will just piece you up in the meantime, or chip you down. One of the two. And for Factor Striders, it's 2 hits, and you can two-shot Fabricators. That's actually a pretty cool aspect. You can have essentially a mobile anti-tank emplacement. First, mindless masses, you might get some value with the flamethrower. Kill flesh mobs, one anti-tank hit with flamethrower, they die, and the flamethrower itself would delete a lot of voteless. That's where you would probably want to have more fuel for it, though, because you would definitely feel a lack of ammo, in actually in many cases for the chaff. But we can't really know for certain since it doesn't do what it's supposed to. If you do play against Illuminate, have your teammates break the shield on harvesters, and then you can shoot their hip joint and kill them in a single shot. Otherwise, you're wasting tons of ammo breaking it yourself. It is simply not worth. And avoid regular Illuminate in most cases, because they spam you with Overseers, and it's even worse on Appropriators. Lumber Exo-Suit is far better against factions that don't have too many ranged enemies, if many at all. Lumber Exo-Suit is a tentative B tier. Bulletstorm. Call down 2 expendable machine guns every 70 seconds that deal 100 damage, 25 durable, have 300 rounds, and they can stagger things very good. Essentially, it's a better stalwart in most situations, except it has a bit more drag on the bullets. On bugs, you mow down pouncers, wilbers, and for hunters, you can kill them very quickly, and if you don't, they get staggered either way. That also applies to warriors. If you have a sea of red approaching you, alpha warriors, you can quell the storm, fend off the demons that demand your blood. You have that power now, and it feels freaking amazing. Also, the hip fire is phenomenal. The recoil isn't excessive. This thing is so much fun to shoot against the Terminates. Commanders and alpha commanders, they don't get staggered, but you do take off their head very quickly. Stalkers can get deleted. It can be an okay option if you've already weakened a Battle Titan. Doing it full HP, it takes a while. For bots, I wouldn't recommend it one bit. No scope, which means you'll be a bit less accurate. Extra drag, shots do less damage as it travel. I'm not sure if that's a huge deal, but it could be a factor. Main thing is the ergonomics aren't great for going head hunting on automatons, which is what you have to do. To get more value from light pen, you have to hit weak spots. Illuminate, mindless masses is such a fun experience. You can hip fire, low recoil, take out tons of voteless. You can be more accurate. It's one shot to the leg. They're a crawl, they bleed out. You stagger Overseers. Officer Earl sprinting after you with his baton and no body cam turned on. You have the power. Adiva can live out here. He can prosper. It feels so good. And for flush mobs that are chasing after you, meat bobs, same kind of deal. You just spray them down. Takes around 80 shots, which sounds a lot. It sounds like a lot, but it's really not in the grand scheme of things. Those guys are still semi-bullet sponges, and you're not even using a third of your ammunition if you play your cards correctly. Take out the shields on harvesters very fast. It just feels freaking great. And every time I was like, man, I'm out of ammo, I either had a spare MGX lying around, Bulletstorm, or I could call in another one. So the cooldown being so short, like an expendable should be, just it blows so well on this weapon, and it does a fantastic job at what it's supposed to do, which is the chaff. By all accounts, I think Bulletstorm is S tier. Only thing I'd say it's not great on is automatons. Gallant, 65 damage, 50 round magazine goes to 70. Recoil, I didn't love it, but you can get a grip and a muzzle pretty early. Fire rate is 1380, very high. So folks will say DPS is crazy. DPS does not mean much of anything in this game, just FYI. But hey, it's medium pen. That'd be cool, except durable damage for this weapon is 13. And SMGs have a drag factor of 1.2, since the medium pen won't do much for you. Go kill Devastators, go shoot the crotch on Rocket Striders, Scout Striders. Where's the value? You're not killing anything meaningfully fast enough. You'd be better off instead going for weak spots with a light pin weapon, or just taking... Maybe I wouldn't say the medium pin lid penetrator is better. I think they're both kind of scuffed. But Gallant is easily F tier. One of the worst guns I've ever used in the game, by far. And when they first announced it, I was assuming, like, okay, we'll get the Night SMG with maybe a bit less damage. I wasn't expecting 65. 65 is nuts. And SMGs also have more sway, making it more annoying to hit weak spots, by the way. So it's, you have all these extra hoops to jump through to do less damage. It does look cool, though. That, I won't argue with that one bit. It looks freaking awesome. It sounds pretty cool, too. Oxygenator increases the wearer's walking and running speed and the speed and duration of slides. It's mobility armor that apparently doesn't work great for medium and doesn't work much at all in the heavy version, making it so light is the de facto choice if your goal is mobility with this passive. That's great for bugs, or it can be, not ideal for bots that can shoot you, and for Illuminate, Mouse Masses was actually quite fun in the armor, but you do die faster than usual because I'm used to wearing medium or heavy. When we get Transmog, if both the perks can be used as a single one, as in you get the slide and the movement speed, this would be probably solid A tier in combination with other perks from different armors. At the moment, though, it is C tier because it costs stamina to slide, even with this armor, and light armor is the only version of it that's worth using for the actual movement bonus. Here are the final rankings for the Exo-Experts Warbond. Viewing the items for what they are, Pocket Rocket is a blast. It brings you back to OG Helldivers 2 years ago, where I'd use the railgun and Scorcher to kill chargers to the legs very quickly. Now I do the same thing with the Pocket Rocket, and it's more engaging than just a simple one-shot. It's a far more interesting way to solve the equation of killing an enemy by making use of their weak spots, actually exposing the armor and shooting the chicken wing. I enjoy that a lot. Bulletstorm, I didn't expect to like a light pen machine gun. I enjoy light pen guns. I love Diligence, for instance, even the sensor. But this one has great recoil. I can sit there not even ADSing, and that's actually kind of a cool thing. It's more cinematic in a sense. And I also love expendables. This weapon, having the damage it has as well, just does a lot. It does a ton, actually. The Gallant sucks. Breakthrough exo-suit brings me great joy in simply ragdolling enemies with a shield bash, stopping charger charge with like essentially a parry. That is such a good time. And the damage on the shotgun, bro, what's not to enjoy about that? The major flaw, though, is there's a medium pin weak spot on the front of the shield, which mostly affects Illuminates most likely, and I guess automatons, although I don't see many people running exo-suits on automatons because it's a bit nightmarish. I feel as though it should still get fixed. If it's easy, definitely look into that. Lumber exosuit would also be great if the flamethrower did something, but there's no way it's enjoyable to have a flamethrower on a mech suit that feels weaker than a Torture and Crisper that are primaries and secondaries. I do think it will probably need a bit more fuel, maybe around 750, 650 something, because 500 seems a bit low. We'll see though, can't really test it right now. The Oxygenator armor passive is neat. I don't love that it only affects light armor. That's a bit of a bummer. And I do believe it'd be a much cooler thing to mess around with if we had Transmog. If you could put the movement perks there with extra grenades, what have you, that takes it so much further. I'll work on getting gameplay for the second channel, Odo Plays, for Lumber, Breakthrough, and I believe Bulletstorm. Also, me and Background played against automatons with mech suits, and it can be fun if you don't get spammed by tanks, rocket striders, and rocket devastators. Exo-Experts, from a gameplay perspective, is a good warbond, and even the controversy isn't the worst thing ever, because at least the devs can know for certain you shouldn't do what they did, and hopefully they can learn going forward. Anyway, esse vídeo Thank y'all for watching. If you have any feedback on it, I'd appreciate that down below. And I will be making another one for the next Warbond, most likely. We'll see what happens. Anywho, thank y'all for watching, and have a good day. I've been farming super credits on difficulty 1.